All right, it's Friday. It's the Fantasy Football Wrap-Up. I'm your host, Blake Randall, with all my co-host, Jesse Geary.
That's right.
Just let me ask you real quick. How you feeling after this Thursday night game right now in fantasy football?
Not good at all.
Yeah,
I'm my Alvin Kamara owner. I'm sad, crying. I'm going to spend the rest of my week just crying on the couch, hoping for some big plays. Gotta have Kamara and Julio Jones, and really, they both let me down for what I wanted. I expected Julio to have at least over 100 yards, and I really expected Kamara to put up 35.
Ooh.
So
Michael Thomas doubled his points for me. That is projected score.
Hurt me so bad. If you're an Alvin Kamara owner, I feel your pain.
Yeah, you look a little bummed out over there about it.
It sucks. My best player didn't play, but maybe, 6 snaps.
Yeah.
He already had 30 yards, too.
As a fantasy opponent in your league, I'm happy to see you fall.
He'll be back next week. Just like my team.
I ain't going to see you next week. I'll see you in the consolation. You can see yourself in the consolation bracket. So, all right. So, before we get to the Thursday Night Football game, we'll talk about some news and notes around the league right now. Sure. It's Friday, December 8th is when we're recording this right now. Yep. So, first thing I'm going to have, earlier today, it was announced that Amari Cooper wasn't playing, but now the Raiders are holding out hope that he might play. So, we'll see, as it goes into Saturday, how things look out. But, he could be a game-time decision. They said he looked all right in his limited reps in practice.
Usually when guys are practicing and they're not out of the concussion protocol, that's usually a cue that they're getting ready they're in the final stage.
Yeah, and then has also an ankle injury, too, that's been acting up a little bit as well. Yeah. I'd say he's a risky play at this point, regardless.
I wouldn't ride the train at this point. Yeah, I'm hurt.
I know he had his monster game against the Chiefs the last time.
Right, but
I just don't see him doing a repeat performance.
Yeah, me neither.
Robert Woods, questionable for Sunday. That's good for Rams fans, me. So, sure. But regardless, I still think, we'll do all right. Josh Ertz is questionable. He's still in concussion protocol.
Zach Ertz. Yeah, but
what did I say? Josh Ertz. Yeah, Zach. I see the name Josh in front of me. Zach Ertz.
He's been practicing, so I think he's, near the end of his. Just keep an eye on him. If
he's active, he's a must start. But all right, Antonio Brown taken off the injury report with the toe injury that he was going through, which did look like it hasn't even been bugging him the last few weeks. Yeah. Deion Lewis misses practice today with an illness. I wouldn't really worry about that right now. Browns release bum receiver Kenny Britt.
Making way for Josh Gordon to get even more targets?
Yeah, pretty much. Kenny Britt wasn't even really doing anything. Packers could be without Devon House.
They are without Devon House.
So it's official, he's out?
Yeah, he's ruled out.
All right. Matt Stafford, questionable tag, his hand. That's been bugging him, but I see him playing. He's not going to sit out.
He said he was progressing, and he's a tough SOB.
Adrian Peterson, he's out with the neck injury still. Second straight week. Sterling Shepard is questionable with the hamstring injury, so that's something to watch out for. Good matchup against the Cowboys, but something to, it's a hamstring injury. Always be wary of a hamstring injury.
Yeah, just talking about those Cardinals. John Brown also has been ruled out.
Right. Doug Martin expected to start this week, coming back from the concussion after missing the last game. To briefly talk on that, I'm not a fan. If Doug Martin's playing, he's not a guy that I'm jumping the gun on a must start. Now, if Peyton Barber was the running back, I would jump all on that. But since Doug Martin's back, don't expect much from Peyton Barber. Sorry, folks. I know he was a top waiver wire pickup for a lot of people this week. It's just something to not look forward to at this point.
Now you can't start Barber and you can't start Martin, so now you're just stuck.
Because Doug Martin has been very unproductive this whole season.
Yeah, he's been bad. His first week back gave him a little bit of hope, and then it just was all downhill.
Right. He's not the same guy anymore. What other notes you got?
Jordan Reed, of course, is out once again.
Of course.
Tyrod Taylor's a game-time decision. He has that patellar tendon injury. If he plays, he's not 100%. So look for him to be a pocket passer.
He's going to back up.
Speaking of being a pocket passer, Kevin Benjamin, they're optimistic he plays. He is listed as questionable, but I think they think he's going to play. So he should be in the lineup this week. I'm not sure that you even start him because you haven't seen enough of him in Buffalo to really see what his appeal is. But that's another, risky play. Because you know that, Tyrod's got to give it to somebody, and you know that he likes to dump it down to his tight ends and backs. So I'm not sure that you even start Benjamin in the first place.
Regardless, even if I think Peterman might end up being the start.
Will Fuller, he's back. He's back in action after those rib injuries. He'll be playing this week. He's active. And all I got left is...
Too bad he's not fantasy relevant anymore.
Alfred Blue is out, which leads me to talk about my running back start of the week this week.
Okay, let's just jump on to running backs.
Lamar
Right,
Miller. Lamar Miller.
Good segue.
You know why Lamar Miller is going to be the start of the week? Because he's
that?
playing the worst run defense in the NFL, and he's the only back on that roster that's worth rostering. It's looking up for him.
Hope
and
so.
they got Tom Savage. Let's not let him turn the ball over.
Right. And you want to rely on that running back, too.
Oh, yeah.
Also like to adjust on that. Of course, it's crazy. You never know how the Texans' game flow, goes.
Right.
They could, Lamar Miller either has potential to have a big day or he'll get you 9 points.
Yeah.
Like 50 rush
They
yards.
hold it close, but
San Garoppolo's been getting in the groove of things. So,
right.
San Francisco's slowly on the uptick a little bit.
Houston's giving up the third most points to quarterbacks, too, so you might want to... Yeah,
I like Lamar Miller,
than,
but he's not my start of the week. My start of the week is some skilled running backs that can run and catch the ball.
Sure.
I got 2 I circled in just because I feel like it's just hard. It's a toss-up. Of course, I got both on my team right now. Rex Burkhead playing Monday night against the Dolphins. I think he continues what he's been doing. He's been pounding the ball a lot more, getting more and more opportunities, more touches as he plays.
Yeah.
He's been the running back. He's pretty much taken over that James White role, as well as a first, second down back role at times.
Yeah.
They flip-flop between him and Deion Lewis. Deion Lewis does pound the ball a lot too, but Burkhead has become one of Brady's favorite weapons.
I think Burkhead gets more of the receiving action on those little under routes. So with Gronk being out, that probably benefits him of all.
The other running back I got circled is Giovanni Bernard with the Joe Mixon news.
That's going to be a great pickup for someone.
He was just sitting there in our league, and no one picked him up. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to take him. And he's right now in our league, he's projected just under 13 points. And Chicago's defense, you might look at Chicago's run defense. They are, they were good at the beginning of the season, but the last handful of weeks they've been actually pretty bad just due to injuries.
And McPhee has already been ruled out with a hip.
And Leonard Floyd.
Eddie Goldman.
Yeah.
And Floyd has been out. He's been out for about the last month. But both of
their
they have 2 big guys in their front 7 who are going to be out for this game too. So that even helps him even more.
And then what helps, I think, Giovanni Bernard is his Burkett as well, his ability to catch the ball too. He's a great, pass catching back.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll go. I guess we can reverse a little bit and go to quarterback.
Sure.
We'll jump to quarterback. So what we can do, I'll say my quarterback start of the week is just Phillip Rivers. The man has been on fire. He's hot. Yeah. This is the thing about the Chargers. Usually in the last handful of years they suffer a lot of injuries at this point. Right now the Chargers are healthy. They're playing great football.
Yeah.
And Phillip Rivers, this is like when the odds are stacked against Phillip Rivers, this is when he plays good. And right now he's just trying to get into the playoffs because how this division is panned out. The Chiefs are basically just losing the division.
Yeah.
The Raiders are just there for some reason up top, and Broncos are already out.
Yeah, I like Phillip Rivers. I also like Derek Carr going against Kansas City. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a divisional game, so it may end up as not such a high-scoring game. It could end up in
especially with it being in Kansas. I think with
medium scoring affair.
Whoops, party foul.
But the quarterback, my start of the week this week is going to be Blaine Gabbert. He's playing against Tennessee. They allow tons of points to quarterbacks. And he's been playing really good football. He's been hitting Larry Fitzgerald. He's been hitting Seals,
especially at home.
Seals Jones, especially at home. And AD's out too, so they're going to need to pass the ball a little bit more than they want to anyway.
Kerr Williams has been stepping up a little bit for them too, in the absence of.
He's doing enough.
All right. So and then Garoppolo is a sleeper pick for me this week against Houston. This will kind of segue into my receivers now. With Garoppolo being sleeper pick. Not as my top start of the week, but I got Marquise Goodwin down. The man has been getting targets. He's the number 1 receiver for the 49ers. He is a great flex play at most with me. He has wide receiver 2 ceiling. He does get you about he's been averaging about like 8 points a game the last month. But my start of the week in terms of receivers is Marvin Jones playing at Tampa Bay, who is a very vulnerable secondary. And I think the Lions are going to want to play aggressive after these last few games that they've had.
Yeah.
So, especially, it's been ever since Matt Stafford has wanted that turkey on Thanksgiving Day. He didn't get it. So this is where he wants to, and they've had another bad week last week against the Ravens. So this is where the Lions want to step back up and get into the back of the groove of things right here. Also, I wrote down Michael Crabtree as well, just because Marcus Peters is out.
Yeah, Jones has a great matchup. I have him as one of my honorable mentions, and it sucks because the guy I'm playing this week has Marvin Jones, and he's probably going to ball out, unfortunately.
He balls out when you don't want him to.
Yeah. My start of the week is Josh Gordon. I just think with Devon House being out, Kenny Britt's out of the door. He had, 11 or 12 targets last week. He's probably going to get a few more this week. He'll be 1 week better as far as his connection with
and the rust.
It's not going to rust off. He didn't look rusty to me.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, getting another week off should help him. He looked a little bit winded as the game went on, especially after a couple of those deep balls he caught. He went off the field and he was bent over. You could tell he was labored breathing. So getting his legs back under him surely help. But our pass defense, Green Bay's pass defense is not very good.
Mm-mm.
I don't think we have anybody that can match up with him. And really, I don't think that we have any player that could shut down a corner or shut down a receiver of his stature, even double coverage, because we've proven time and time again that those kind of receivers, elite receivers in the league, have kind of just ran rampant through us the last 2 years at least, as far as just coming off with like the Julios and the Antonio Browns and even the Joneses of the world. We haven't fared well against those.
Yeah.
So start Josh Gordon. I'm starting him. I'm pretty excited about it, even though it breaks my heart because I'm a Packers fan.
You got to go with the volume players.
Yeah.
When, especially this late in the season when the guy's getting that much volume, almost as much as Antonio Brown gets in terms of targets and stuff, you got to go with the guy. Yeah. That's like why Marquise Goodwin's listed for me, too, because he's getting the volume now, with no Pierre Garçon there anymore, and he's pretty much the top receiver at this point right now. Garoppolo favors the guy. They have the chemistry down already. So, and then other receivers that I like too this week, just real quick, just as like sleeper picks, just because I think, you shouldn't worry about the matchup, is the Jets receivers. Believe in Curse, believe in Anderson against the Broncos. The Broncos defense as of late has just been exhausted, tired. Teams have been, just controlling the ball on the field and keeping them on the field for a long time. But, so I'll let this segue into my tight ends, because this is another Jets player that I like this week, and I like Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and I think those are words that you like hearing.
Oh, thank goodness! I just hope that his touchdowns count this week. That's all. That's all I can ask for.
Yeah. One fact I wanted to bring up, though, this is more a reference to PPR style, but the Broncos defense has allowed 16.1 PPR points to tight ends per game. That's the third most in the league.
That's good. I like that.
So I feel like, and that's and I do like Josh McCown. Josh McCown was like one of my other I didn't really go through my quarterbacks, but McCown was listed too. I like the Jets. What's that? I like the Jets this week a lot in general. Just like the running backs are kind of sleeper picks and stuff like that. Yeah. But I for some reason, just the Jets offense has been clicking. McCown has been playing good, and I'm still on that McCown train. Choo choo. Yeah. But he's still in the waiver wires in our league, and I'm scared to pick him up just because you never know.
ASJ is definitely my honorable mention. I wanted to make you my start of the week. But I went on to another team who is also very bad at covering tight ends, which is the Detroit Lions. They're playing against Cameron Brate and
who's back with Jameis Winston.
Buccaneers. And they're at home, but the Bucs are at home. Brate has been very good ever since Jameis Winston come back. That's Jameis Winston's man. That's who's looked for a target, big target over the mid,
especially in the red zone.
Yeah, especially in the red zone. I think target. Brate has a great week. A couple more of my honorable mentions is Delaney Walker at Arizona. Arizona is kind of the middle of the pack when it comes to defending tight ends, but Delaney Walker has just been on fire. He's been taking over games for Tennessee, and he's not getting any recognition, which blows my mind.
Mm-hmm. Another tight end that I liked, wanted to mention, throw out there was Hunter Henry. He's starting to, get in the groove of things. He's becoming also, outside of Keenan Allen, he's one of Rivers' favorite targets right now. So that's a good pick right there. You want to start with the kicker?
My kicker, which I think I'm actually going to pick this kicker up before the weekends, is Bucker. Kansas City's
Harrison Bucker,
Kansas City's kicker. They're playing at home against Oakland. Oakland gives up tons of points to everybody, especially kickers. So I don't think you can go wrong with Bucker. And Alex Smith and the Chiefs' offense look like they've kind of righted the ship a bit. I mean, they hit Travis Kelce early and got some things moving. As the game went on, I think the play calling wasn't up to par to what it was in those kind of scripted moments.
Mm-hmm.
But I expect Kansas City to come in and score some points. And if it ends up being a low-scoring affair and, the Raiders' red zone defense steps up, it'd be a big day for Bucker. I also like Adam Vinatieri playing at Buffalo because it's a division game. Adam Vinatieri is great on the road, cold weather. Doesn't matter what the weather is. He's in there and he's getting it done.
I do got both of your guys listed, but my start of the week is old guy Phil Dawson, Arizona kicker, playing at home against Tennessee. Tennessee does allow some of the most points in the league. I think they're number one for most points allowed to kickers, if I'm not mistaken. Phil Dawson is still kicking it. The Cardinals trust him even from a deep length out, which is good. I feel like Tennessee has one of those defenses that's not great but good enough to stop you in the point where you can score, go for a field goal. Especially with how Arizona's offense is rolling right now.
Yeah.
No AP. You're rolling with Blaine Gabbert. So, Blaine Gabbert's been playing good, but you still Blaine Gabbert still has those tendencies to turn the ball over at times or just have bad passes.
Right.
So, which is where it helps. What helps with Phil Dawson. At the end of the Cardinals trust him. So I like Phil Dawson. I mean, I don't want to say I feel like like there's one game this week that's like my game of the week. It's the one I'm looking forward to the most, which has like the top kickers in the league. The Rams-Eagles game, you got Greg Zuerlein, and then you got Jake Elliott, both the top two kickers in the league. But the crazy thing is, it's the matchups.
Yeah.
It's just like the teams that are playing, like the Rams, they don't have. It's not a good matchup for Elliott this week because the Rams don't allow many points for kickers.
Yeah.
But, and then the Rams, no matter what, they trust in Greg DeLeg no matter what. So it's like he's a safe bet against anybody.
Great.
Yeah. But, yeah, Phil Dawson's a top kicker for me this week in terms of fantasy. I'm not going to name the obvious kickers at all. That's what I try.
Right.
That's what we try to.
Right.
Let's at least put that out there. We try to avoid saying the obvious starts of the week. We're not going to say Tom Brady. We're not going to say Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
Or Antonio Brown at receiver. Right. You're not going to say Gronk when he's healthy or Travis Kelce right now. Those are guys that you're always going to start. We're saying the guys that, you might question, like, hey, should I consider this guy in my lineup? Should I, consider this defense over this defense? Why or why not? Mm-hmm. And we're giving our opinions on the guys that, you might question. We get people writing us on our Twitter account, FF Ball Wrap Up. You can find us on there at Twitter. So, we got, people asking some odd questions. And I feel like, I see some of these questions that people ask us, which I'm going to go to our Twitter right now. I'm going to kind of segue into that. In defense, I'm just going to throw this out there real quick because I don't even feel like I need to go into detail with it. Defense of the week for me, Packers against Cleveland.
Yeah, obviously.
Just because of the Deshaun Kaiser. It's just Kaiser is the main thing.
Turnovers, right.
I feel like Gordon's still going to have his day.
Yeah.
He's going to have a great game. But I feel like just because of how much Packers have been sacking a lot too.
Yeah.
They've been getting at the quarterback a lot, and Deshaun Kaiser is, going to throw interceptions as well too.
I see that. My defensive star of the week is Denver because their offense had been so terribly bad. They were horrible last week. He threw 2 picks. I know one went for 6, and he's getting the start again this week. Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian has played so bad lately, and the Jets secondary has been young, but they've been fierce, and their front seven gets after it. So I think New York Jets, they're playing at Denver. I don't think they go in there scared. I think they come in there and beat Denver up, and defense going to get the job done for you. Also, like the Chargers defense having Washington come into town. And then I Cam Newton. I feel like they look at that Minnesota defense and they go, Minnesota defense hasn't been that great. And, Carolina's got Cam Newton. You don't want to start them this week. I disagree. Cam Newton only has 1 target and that's Devin Funchess.
Which he's not a start. He's not a must start for me this week.
Yeah, because
unfortunately.
Xavier Rhodes is going. The Rhodes
as much as much I'd love to start Funchess this week.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that Michael Thomas was productive, so that's why I'm not worried about the Funchess start. Yeah. This is where I'm just hoping the Giovanni Bernard, flex play works for me. But here I'm gonna ask you this question because we never replied to this on Twitter.
Sure.
So, and then I just felt like when I looked at this question, I was like, man, this guy must have just kind of butchered his team. But here's what this is from.
Sure.
Sportsfan 1488. He writes, PPR need one running back, one flex, one wide receiver / tight end. Here's the options.
Goodness.
Amir Abdullah, which he should be out, right? Or is he?
He's
even
practicing.
Playing? He's practicing. So he's got Amir Abdullah with the neck injury, C.J. Anderson, and then Kerwin Williams, and then Marlon Mack for his running backs is what he's got. So he said he needs one. In my personal opinion, Marlon Mack. Let's see. I'll let you look that up. But my personal opinion, out of that group of running backs, you can look it up.
Yeah.
I could type it in right here, though, real quick. But you go to it a little slow right now. Marlon Mack. Popping up real quick. Marlon Mack. No updated news for me on December 4th. Let me look
past week, so he's fine.
I
would probably go Marlon Mack and.
Well, you pick one. Pick one running back.
Well, then, who was?
He said Amir Abdullah,
No.
C.J. Anderson,
No,
Kerwin Williams.
I go Williams.
Yeah, that's the one I was thinking. Kerwin Williams.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. He's at home.
Yeah.
AD's out. I go Williams.
Kerwin Williams.
That would be mine.
Then he said one flex. So those same running backs. Dontrell Inman is the other one, and he wrote Funchess as well. But he has Witten and Olsen and
I go
written
Witten.
down.
Witten because the Giants give up touchdowns to tight ends, and then I go Inman because the corner for their opponent is not playing this week. The top corner is not playing, so that makes it pretty simple for me. Chicago's playing Cincinnati and Drake and Patrick.
Yeah, I really wanted to write this guy.
And Inman got the touchdown last week.
I really wanted to write this guy, and so you had to have butchered your team or just drafted really bad. But, I mean, I'm just being very blunt.
We'll just help the guy.
That's what it is.
We'll help him out.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll take our advice and get her done. Oh, God, that was old.
I wrote him. Yeah. Old jokes.
Really old.
Another one that tagged us in, and I kind of voted for it and gave my opinion already on it. Roy Steyer on Twitter, he tagged a few fantasy pages, but he said, I had Kamara last night. He got me here. There's very red grammar in this, but needs some upside. 10-team PPR redraft. Doug Baldwin, or Robbie Anderson. Both go against top D this week. Keep going back and forth, but now it's crunch time. Retweet, thanks. And he left a little poll. I've told him Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I'll go Anderson too.
I don't like Doug Baldwin against Jacksonville at all.
No, it's great pass defense, and Doug Baldwin hasn't really been doing as much.
Not as of late.
No.
It's been more of Jimmy Graham, and then Richardson's been stepping back up too.
Richardson's they've been throwing. He's been there. He's their big play guy that they're trying to target down the sideline. So.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, Doug Baldwin's just. This is normally, I feel like if there was a better run game. I know they finally feel like they got their running back right now in Davis. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if there was a better run game than what it was, then Doug Baldwin would be a little bit more better. Especially, and the offensive line as well, too.
Right.
Offensive line, because Russell Wilson he's out there looking like Donovan McNabb from years ago.
He's running for his life, trying to make something happen.
And he's making stuff happen because he's that good. But, I mean, in that situation, though, if I had to pick between Robbie Anderson and Doug Baldwin, I said, go Robbie Anderson. He practiced in full today. Don't worry about his injury that he's going to nag him with. So, the full practice on Friday, means that I'll go for this. Yeah. I said, but you also got to go with the guy who's playing, has the hot hand and playing right now, and that's Robbie Anderson.
Start Robbie Anderson. Don't even give him.
He didn't have a touchdown last week, but he had 100 yards, and he's had like three touchdowns in the 3 games prior to that as well.
Yeah.
2 in a row. He's the guy that you got to go for.
No
One guy replied back and said, I'd start Baldwin, tough matchup for Anderson. I wrote back and I said, no, I'd start Anderson. Denver hasn't been playing good. So we get a few questions. We get a few questions here and there, every now and then. But it's that time. It's that time where you're more in a panic. And hopefully, for people that made the playoffs, you rely, like in your case, you was hoping for the big game from a Kamara because he's been your home run hitter, and then the injury happens.
Yep. Now I got to lean on a so-so Melvin Gordon. Fairly new Josh Gordon, Big Ben at home playing Baltimore. Scary matchup. We'll see. Mm-hmm. ASJ hopefully can do something for me. DeAndre Hopkins, I would love for him to have a big week.
I mean, he's got a great matchup.
We'll see.
It's just a matter of what Tom Savage can do.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, I mean, okay, instead of us going into detail, I feel like instead of us going into detail with all the matchups like we normally do, because that kind of just drags on, we can kind of like pinpoint like what something we're looking forward to in the week and stuff like that.
Sounds good to me.
So for me, I'm just going to bring it up like I already kind of mentioned. I mean, it's like I feel like it's Super Bowl week for the Rams right now. We're playing the Eagles. Goff, Wentz, Eagles run game, Rams poor run defense. There's a lot of stuff factors going into this game. There's a lot of X factors.
Eagles got a top run defense. Todd Gurley's been killing.
Yeah,
even when Todd
Gurley right now, what's crazy? I looked up the rest of the season rankings in terms of like schedule. Todd Gurley has the toughest schedule the rest of the way.
Well, and it's good for him is that even when he's facing teams that are really good against the rush, they find a way to get him involved in the passing game. So,
which is what he's greatly improved in.
As a fantasy back, it doesn't matter who he's playing. Obviously, you start Todd Gurley.
I'm rolling with Goff. I'm rolling with Goff this week. I mean, I'm rolling with him over Cousins just because how Chargers have been playing as of late. Yeah. Which hopefully doesn't come back to bite me at all because usually when I roll with one of the quarterbacks, the other one plays better. So I'm gonna roll with Goff just because Goff's been playing great. So I don't know. I'm more stressed. I'm more excited to watch the game though this week too.
I think Philly's gonna be PO'd about taking that whipping against the Seahawks national television, and that's a big NFC game for them because they're playing for home field advantage. And
now the Rams are too. I mean, there's a tie at first.
Yeah.
Well, Minnesota's number one team right now, at 10-2. Eagles with that third loss, they have the same, or they got one win ahead of the Rams right now. Look at that schedule right. No, they got two losses.
They got two losses.
They're 10-2. Rams are 9-3. So basically, this is like a tiebreaker deal. So if the Rams win, then they lock up that bye week already. Or not lock it up, but they'll be in the spot for the bye week right now. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And a lot of people didn't have faith in the Rams like this. Just kind of touch on like last night's game as well too. I got to bring that up now that I was popping up the matchups in front of me. How about that Deion Jones interception at the end of the game?
That was funny how just how it was called. He just jumps up as high as he can, catches the ball, which was a ridiculously athletic play. And then he just kind of let his body fall to the ground. Like he just stiffened up. It was like, there's no way I'm dropping this ball.
He held on to it tight. It was like when like that Ted Ginn hit too, though. Remember that catch that he had? He had this little slant route or the little mini post route, and then gets lit up and still holds on to that ball, which is something he normally hasn't done over his career. Yeah. Drew Brees, a funny thing I saw about Drew Brees though too is one of our friends in our league has Drew Brees, and he goes, "Oh, it's great to see Drew Brees finally wanting to pass the ball."
Right.
Of course he had to with Kamara going out, and then Ingram didn't really have a big game.
No.
This is one of those weeks where I feel like there's a lot of good teams playing bad teams.
Yeah.
This week. Last week was like
I feel like it's more middle of the pack.
It kind of is in certain. There's certain games. There's a few good games, but like there's a lot of games that you're like, you know what? I'm not looking forward to this one. Like Bills Colts. There's nothing about that game that intrigues me as much. I mean, there's good matchups for both teams in certain positions.
Right.
Like McCoy should have a good day. The running backs for the Colts should have a good day. Frank Gore actually might break 100 yards this game if they give it to him enough. Cowboys Giants, nothing intriguing about that game really for me. It's basically to see what is Alfred Morris going to do.
Still not sold on it.
So let's talk about that. Alfred Morris, thoughts. He had the big game last week. That's what it basically helps the Cowboys win the game last week.
Right.
Dak Prescott, played good, but he wasn't like statistically great. Do you think the Cowboys keep trying to roll on the run with Alfred Morris because that's what they're strong at, and that's what hides Dak's weaknesses?
I think so, because that's the only way they can win. I'm just not sure. Giants linebackers are not very good. Their defensive line is a little bit banged up, and they've been playing okay. The Giants defense has been playing okay. They're at home, so Dallas's travel. They're traveling far away.
Giants' first game without McAdoo as well.
Yeah,
so we'll see how that goes.
There's so much going on that I'm not really sure.
It's my game.
I would play Alfred Morris if I didn't have. I have. Basically, the way I'm looking at it is I'm not starting him in my flex over Josh Gordon. And, there's a bit of a conundrum between whether I start him or Melvin Gordon, because Melvin Gordon has just not been good
He's
lately.
Been average.
But I think Melvin Gordon still has more potential to have a big game than Alfred Morris has to have a big game, personally.
Yeah. There's nothing.
But my mind may change between now and Sunday.
Yeah. The other game, this could be an offensive frenzy. Possibly Lions, Buccaneers. There's potential for a big game, or it's potential for a train wreck. There's a lot of games. Like I'm sitting there looking at them, like this could be a train wreck, or this could be a fun game for one team. Like the Lions, Lions could have a good, day passing the ball offensively. It just depends, how things go.
It's been like 15 minutes.
Yeah, and let's see.
What else are we doing anyway?
Here we go. So I'll edit this.
Okay.
All right. Colts, Bills.
Not excited about either of it. Tyrod Taylor maybe not play. Might want to see what Kevin Benjamin's doing. Their defense is looking bad. Colts defense is looking bad. Maybe Doyle's a start. I don't know. It's just
not
excited about the game.
Gore was one of my starts of the week, and I think if they rely on Gore, you might have a good Gore week. I've been hating on Gore this whole season, probably the last few years, just because I think he's old and washed up.
Right.
And it's time to move on from a 35-year-old running back or whatever he is. Shady could have a good day.
Yeah.
All right. Cowboys, Giants. Alfred Morris. Do they roll with him?
Yeah.
They roll with Morris.
Yeah. Not sure how productive he makes it, but they have to.
I think on the Giants side of the ball, it's another Evan Ingram day, hopefully. Of course, for my sakes, I'm a fantasy owner of Evan Ingram.
Should be.
I think it should be a good day that should continue on, even though there's a switch at quarterback. I think Evan Ingram should continue on his role, stemming from last week as well. Right. Lions, Buccaneers. We both had Marvin Jones down.
Matchups is Marvin Jones is going to put up some stats.
I think Golden Tate could also do that as well.
I want to see who Darius Slade. Well, Darius Slade's going to match up probably with Mike Evans wherever he goes. That's a good matchup to watch inside the game. But I think that leaves room for Cameron Brate and Deshaun Jackson to have some good.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, because I feel like when Winston comes in, Deshaun Jackson kind of fades out a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Brate becomes that other option, and then, this is another case too. Especially with Doug Martin being the running back, starting running back this week. Peyton Barber kind of dwindles out, but how much does Peyton Barber be involved with this offense? Do they actually use him? Do you think they use him? I would say I would like to see it be a split, because I think Peyton Barber's the better running back.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially at this point, especially with youth on his side. Raiders, Chiefs.
I like this matchup just because of they both have very poor defenses as of lately. So it should be a high-scoring affair. So I'm looking forward to seeing.
It might be their last Thursday night game that early this year.
Yeah, I think of all
no
the
Marcus
games,
Peters either.
Of all the games for West to show up, which I've been down on him, I think this might be the one he shows up because it's a division game.
You talking about? Yeah.
They got to get him involved.
Who you talking about?
Kareem Hunt.
Oh, Kareem Hunt. You said West for some reason.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, Kareem Hunt. I'm hoping so, but he's still going to be on my bench.
Yeah.
If he has a big game,
to show me something before
if he doesn't have a big game this week, what's the point of me wanting to start him anymore?
Right.
but I'm not going to drop him just because you never know because you know what he can do.
Yeah.
Crabtree could have a field day. I don't see Amari Cooper doing much of anything.
No.
Derek Carr could do something too as well.
Derek Carr could have a very
Jared
good
Cook,
day.
I don't see doing much of anything. It's not a great matchup for tight
I
end.
think he'll do okay. I think
Well, he did get hurt.
Patterson will do quite a bit too.
He
Yeah,
got
did
hurt
get
last week,
That's
but
true.
potentially should play this week, though. Another weird game right here, 49ers Texans. Texans, rolling with, I think, they're going with the same flow. Bill O'Brien, keeping tabs on Savage, hopefully he controls the turnovers. Hopefully this benefits Hopkins. Hopefully this benefits Miller.
I think it's another 28, 25, 4 ball game.
I think Garoppolo just does, helps keep this team, moving forward with them. Marquise Goodwin should have a good game. Other than that, I don't think Texans have a great run defense right now still. Carlos Hyde, I don't think Carlos Hyde will be as effective. I think it's just going to be a passing game. Miller could do a little bit, from the get-go, and then I just think goes from there.
It'll be,
Packers-Browns.
Obviously, I'm looking forward to the matchup. I think if you're a football fan, you're looking forward to the matchup just to see. Josh Gordon is exciting to watch. I want to watch this game for the same reason I always want to watch the Saints, because Kevin Kamara's electric. Josh Gordon's getting 12 targets a game, and he's overwhelming everyone. And, the story and just his comeback and everything is so intriguing. I want to see what he brings to the table against Green Bay. And really, Green Bay, this is maybe a must. These are must-win games for us in this division with the way the Vikings are playing.
They're still in contention too.
Yeah, and possibly talking about next week getting Aaron Rodgers back or the week after. So it's a beatable opponent. We're going on the road.
Nobody wants to be that team to lose to the
Yeah,
Browns, right? Or
exactly.
lose to the Browns.
And it's going to be
Usually it's the
more
Chargers,
of a game
but,
than I probably want it to be.
Yeah. So I think honestly though, Jamal Williams still keeps things going for the Packers.
Yeah,
he's been on a hot streak. I know they're talking about doing like a little timeshare maybe, but I think Williams is more of the guy that they're going to roll with right now until he shows a mistake.
Right.
Bears Bengals.
Inman is a receiver standpoint, and then Kraut's probably a pretty good play. I think Andy Dalton's safe this week. AJ Green's safe this week.
I like Bernard. That's my favorite one this week. I think it's actually a tougher matchup for Jordan Howard. He's kind of, when we think he has a good matchup, he lets us down.
I think you start him this week, though. It's a decent matchup. They're at Cincinnati, so they got to run the ball.
He's a back you just can't sit, though, because you know what he can do.
Exactly.
But let me ask you this. Who would you rather play, Howard or Hunt?
Howard.
I'm agreeing with you on that.
Much more value.
Even as a Kareem Hunt owner, I'm agreeing with that
yeah.
easily. Vikings Panthers.
I think Vikings take this game easily, even though it's in Carolina. Their defense is too good. Carolina don't have enough offensive weapons to do anything against. Minnesota has more defensive weapons than Carolina has offensive weapons, if you know what I mean. Xavier Rhodes, I expect to pretty much erase Funchess from the game. And Cam has got to force some balls and make some plays.
He's going to rely on McCaffrey a lot.
He's going to make his plays. McCaffrey will do some things out of the backfield. They'll put up, I think Carolina puts up 16 points. It's not a big game for them. Minnesota beats them 16-31. Carolina's without a couple of their people from the front seven, thanks to suspensions with PEDs and those types of things. Their corners really haven't had to cover very long because defensive coordinator down in Carolina is doing such a great job this year blitzing those linebackers. But Shaq Thompson I think he's been ruled out. Thomas Davis is still dealing with some injuries, so sending Luke Kuechly and Leak Davis all day, blitzing I don't think it's going to be a recipe for success against Minnesota. They get carved up.
Chargers, Redskins in a must-win game for both teams.
Chargers taking the home team.
Oh, yeah. I think Allen keeps on keeping on.
Allen keeps doing his thing. I think both running backs, I think P. Ryan and Melvin Gordon, both are in pretty decent matchups. They both have a pretty good day. Eckler, I expect to still have a good day.
Could be a good tight end game, too, Vernon Davis.
And it should be a good tight end
Hunter
game.
Henry.
Yeah, for both teams.
Yeah, both quarterbacks. thinking about. I mean, I want to see Cousins play good because Cousins can play good when the odds are against him. But Phillip Rivers is just playing lights out right now.
Yeah, and I expect Kirk Cousins is. It's kind of he struggled at times against teams with strong pass rush, strong defense, pass defense, and that's the Chargers, MO.
Yeah. So next game, Jets Broncos.
Jets.
Are you on the McCown train?
McCown train. The Jets, the Denver, the offense sucks train. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the receivers have a good day, even against these the secondary of the Broncos.
They're gonna have so many opportunities. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Titans Cardinals.
I say Cardinals because of the home teams. Titans defense has been struggling. Titans are going on the road. They have to establish the run game, or they lose. They lose this game probably. I expect Mariota to struggle, throw a few errant passes, because Arizona has the sixth best run defense in the league. So I expect them to be stout against those two backs they have, and force Mariota to throw the ball more than he wants to. He's been prone to making some mistakes here lately. Mm-hmm. So I think Arizona gets it done.
My game of the week, Rams-Eagles.
This one's a tough one to call because they're two
I already
very
told you a
close
couple
teams.
weeks ago I'm picking the Rams.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with that. But in terms of fantasy player value-wise, you're going to start Wentz just because Wentz has still been playing good, no matter what the matchup is. I'm rolling with Goff this week. I think he's a sleeper play. I mean, a lot of people might say he's bust, but I think Goff at home, people healthy, potential Robert Woods to come back. All the other receivers and depth-wise are stepping up. Gurley still been playing on fire. Sammy Watkins getting more involved. Finally, Cooper Kupp is catching balls and playing a lot better as well, and they're getting their tight ends involved. Gerald Everett had a touchdown last week. So it's just there's a lot of stuff to watch for. And, and the Eagles side of the ball, Eagles have four-headed monster at running back pretty much. So that's something to watch out for because the Rams have one of the worst run defenses in the league. Somehow they do. I mean, It still baffles me that they do, but I blame the linebackers for that. So I think the receivers do get shut down. I do see Jeffrey not having a big productive day.
Yeah.
Aguilar, Nelson Aguilar. I feel like that's like a tongue twister. Nelson Aguilar. I don't think he has the big game that he had last week. I mean, but there's potential for him to have a big game though too.
Yeah, his big games just come on.
He just rolls out of the slot like that.
Crazy stuff. So
right, and then
Carson Wentz can always. I think it's any point of the game he can roll out and make a big play with that. I think a big part of the game plan depends on if Ertz plays or not. I think he could be an X factor in this game. I'm actually going to agree and say the Rams win by a field goal because I think it's going to be that close of a game.
I like the sound of that. And a sleeper pick, Trey Burton, tight end, filling in for Zach Ertz. If Zach Ertz is not playing, if Zach Ertz plays, you're going to play Zach Ertz.
And if it's my running back, if I'm starting running backs, I'm probably starting. I think I'm feeling more comfortable with Ajayi because he's getting more volume and I think he's on the cusp of breaking one.
Mm-hmm.
Personally.
I think so too. Next game, Seahawks Jaguars.
This is a good matchup. I think Russell Wilson's going to do the same thing to Jacksonville's defense they did to the Eagles' defense because they're pretty similar. They have great pass rush. They have great interior linemen that can stop the run. And the Eagles' corners aren't as talented as Jacksonville's, but Russell Wilson waves his magic wand and puts pixie dust on everyone and just runs around and shakes them all over the place. And he has so much time. He buys so much time for his receivers to get open. It doesn't matter how talented your defense are. He's going to find a way to beat you. So I actually think Russell Wilson pulls this game out of a hat. And Seattle comes in and shuts down the run game. Seattle comes in and shuts down the Blake Bortles in the pass game. And Russell Wilson doesn't know to win the game. It's ugly. It's very ugly. Talking about could be 9-12 ugly, 15-9 ugly, but Seahawks could have done. I think.
I'm gonna roll with the opposite.
Okay.
That's a very biased opinion on my part, but
sure.
I think the Jaguars pull off a big mystery win in this one. Yeah. I think everyone's against them right now. I think everybody's against them right now. But I just think this defense has the best week a defense could have in fantasy football.
And they're at home too, so.
I just think let me just say this, not fantasy-wise, but I feel like just in general, like, you know how, like, the Vikings are a great defense in real life, but in fantasy they're just, like, you know, they're below average because they don't get the points. I feel like that's what's going to happen with the Jaguars this week. But Russell Wilson, you know, this could be one, because when Russell Wilson's flustered, he has bad games. And the Rams, he's had that, like, against the Rams as well, too, in the past. And I think this is the case for that right here. But fantasy-wise, Russell Wilson, you're going to play. Blake Bortles could be a sleeper pick, which is crazy to say. Look at receivers. A deep sleep pick is D.D. Westbrook for me.
Yeah.
Marquise Lee's a flex play for me at most. I just kind of, for some reason, I'm liking, he's getting the volume and stuff like that. And Fournette is you're going to start Fournette regardless.
Probably, yeah.
But it's something to watch. That's a wary matchup.
Yeah.
But Fournette has potential to break out for a big run, and he's playing healthy right now. He's finally healthy again.
What I like about this matchup the most is that really Russell Wilson doesn't have to throw it to his receivers, and he can still get it done just by using his feet, making plays here and there to receivers, and then really just trusting Jimmy Graham. Jacksonville's not good against tight ends.
Yeah. So all right, next game, Sunday Night Football. We're already here. Ravens Steelers. It's the NFL's favorite rivalry. It's one of my least favorite rivalries, just because I think it's overhyped. Because I don't think the Ravens are as good as they think the league thinks they are.
I agree.
I think the Steelers take this one easily. One, because they're at home. Two, Ravens have some injuries at defense, especially with Jimmy Smith's injury, which he was playing great.
Yeah,
this year.
Taking out your number one target.
Well, number one target for the Steelers is the number one receiver in fantasy football right now,
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, so I think, and
I expect him to stay that way.
Yeah, he's been playing. He's been a top 5 receiver the last 3 weeks. Right now, his touchdowns have regressed. He's had 3, 2, 1. Hopefully, it doesn't go. Stay with the trend and stuff like that. But we'll see.
I think this game will be a grind, but I think Big Ben has just been zoned in. He's been on another level the last 5 or 6 weeks, and I don't think that stops here at home against Baltimore.
Especially, they always have both these teams always have something to prove against each other.
Yeah.
But I don't think they don't play this game like how the Steelers and Bengals do.
Right.
It's a different type of aggressive.
Yeah.
It's more strategic. It's like a chess game. The Bengals Steelers play like they're playing checkers. Ravens Steelers are like they're playing chess. It's more strategic.
Yeah.
But so that I did bench Alex Collins this week. There's just something I just feel like I was like, this is going to be more of a play from behind type of game.
I think it's going to be. I actually think Baltimore might have some success against Pittsburgh's defense, because the last 3 weeks, ever since really they've played Green Bay, I don't know what happened to the Steelers' defense. They just lost. I think they just lost an edge. And I mean, let's face it, as human to human, you see when your teammates land on the field motionless, and you know that he just had to have his spine repaired, what was it called, restructured, spinal restructure surgery.
Shazier, yeah.
That's going to affect you mentally. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
So I think the Steelers defense come out a little less with a little less pop than they normally have, especially missing Shazier. I mean, that's a lot of speed you're missing in the middle of your defense, and he makes the checks and calls, and it's a big loss for them.
I mean, it could be a big motivation factor for them too.
Yeah.
Just the little things like that motivate you too. Yeah,
that's true. I just think, that would be a tough one to overcome.
It might make a player more hesitant on how they tackle too as well. But I think you'd have a big day with Antonio Brown still. Le'Veon Bell does his thing. Big Ben, basically you get triple B. The triple B comes and gets you.
I mean, Big Ben probably flirts with 250, 300, and he's probably safe with 2 touchdowns and a pick, which you're still happy he's getting you 25 points in our league at least.
I mean, I'd be happy with the quarterback getting 20 points.
Yeah, and with there could be with that talking about that corner, and they still have they have great safety play, but Martavis Bryant and Antonio Brown could break a big play at any point in time. So I'm confident starting Big Ben. I actually think I think you might be even confident starting on the other side of the ball, Mike Wallace.
Yeah, he's been getting more. No one's really talking about him.
No.
But he's been getting more volume. He's been one of their top targets. He's been their number one receiver.
And he's catching them in
Jeremy
chunks
Macklin's
of
disappeared.
30, 40 yards.
Yeah, he gets a bigger play. So he's someone to watch out for.
Right.
If you're needing a receiver, bad this week, as some people have written us on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I look at your roster, I'm like, yeah, you've done dismantled your roster just because of impatience. Mike Wallace is someone to look at.
Go get Mike Wallace. Might help you out this week.
Yeah.
More than you'd expect.
Right. Monday Night Football. We're finally here.
Mm-hmm.
Patriots, Dolphins at Miami. I think this is going to be I think the Patriots continue what they've been doing the last handful of weeks with their game flow in terms of using the running backs, getting them more involved. Less of the receivers. There's no Gronk. So, Gronk's dealing with the suspension right now. I think it's going to be the Rex Burkhead show once again. And I think even more to make my opponent mad this week in fantasy. There's a lot of great plays this week, but I think what people are not looking at is how good the Patriots defense has been the last few weeks.
Yeah.
They've really stepped it up. So people were thinking, Kenyon Drake's a great start this week. Jarvis Landry's a great guy to look at this week as well too. Same with Kenny Stills. Jay Cutler could have a top 10 week this week. I don't see really any of that. I think this is going to be a Patriot beatdown on primetime football.
I expect Drake to do something because of the volume and there's going to be garbage time most likely, so he's going to get probably some of those touches. I expect they're going to try to get the ball to Landry. Bill Belichick's trying to take Landry away, so I do expect I expect Landry to get lots of volume, which could lead to a decent day. I think the tight end Thomas will get a little bit more involved, but really New England's been the best team in the league against the tight end last 6 weeks, so I don't start Jay Cutler. I think Drake and Landry are the only two that you can feel comfortable with. On the other side of the ball, I feel this is a game that Tom Brady knows he needs to win, and I think that Miami's front seven is good. They're not poor. They're not great. They're good, middle of the road. I feel like they come ready to kind of stuff that run game. And I think this is going to be the Tom Brady show type of week where he takes over, and whether he's dumping it to the backs or Amendola over the middle or Brandon Cooks, it's just going to be the Tom Brady deal, I think, and he's going to go out and win the ball game. That's what Tom Brady does. And he's going to put up a lot of points.
Yeah.
Even despite his little Achilles hiccup that he hasn't practiced this week, Tom Brady doesn't need to.
You don't sweat it. It's Tom Brady.
Yeah, you don't worry.
All right, so that's the end of the matchups for this week. Let me ask you this question: if you could say if you can talk to the fantasy football genie, rub his little teapot, get one wish. What's that wish for you?
Melvin Gordon breaks 2 long runs for touchdowns. That would be great for my team.
Seals the deal against Mr. Chris.
I think so.
Rebel for life.
I think it could, yeah. I think Severian Jenkins might be looking at a 2-touchdown game, possibly. I'm just really optimistic because I need to be. I think Josh Gordon could have a 150-yard game. I'm thinking ASJ for me could end up with 60 yards and a pair of touchdowns. That'd be nice. Melvin Gordon would be real nice for him to.
So you're just basically asking for a very high productive week from your players.
Yeah, because having Kamara getting hurt and Julio's basically, I've got between Julio and Kamara, who would have thought I'd have 12 points? I need everyone else to step up. I need, by miracle, maybe Eagles defense come through for me.
It's a tough matchup.
And then I think I'm going to end up rolling with Bucker, Kansas City's kicker. So, yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
Well, only time will tell, and we'll see what your reaction is come next week when we record episode 17 on Tuesday.
It's true.
We'll know whether you've advanced or whether you've disappeared from the 2017
So for people
season.
who are listening and who actually care, I wanted to just read you the matchups of my game this week because it's not looking too good for me. But yeah, I have faith. You gotta have faith, right? I have faith. So my team this week, my starting team is gonna be Ben Roethlisberger is my quarterback. Right now, my Melvin Gordon is my running back, number 1 running back. He's my first round pick. I feel like I have to play him with my first round pick. Alvin Kamara was my running back 2. Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins is playing at home against San Francisco. Should be a good matchup. He should do some things in that. Austin Seferian-Jenkins playing at Denver. Worst against tight ends. He could have a good day. Josh Gordon's playing at home against Green Bay. He could have a big day. I'm probably going to roll with Bucker as my kicker. He should have a pretty decent day. And then the Eagles defense playing at LA, which is a so-so play, but I've had the Eagles and they've done me well the last 6 weeks, so I've kind of got to roll with them. I feel confident rolling with them, even though they put up a stinker last week. My bench, there's only one conundrum on my bench, and that's, do I want to start Alfred Morris over Melvin Gordon? And right now my heart says no. We'll see. My opponent, however, God, his matchups are a little bit better than mine are. He has Alex Smith playing at home against Oakland. That's a bad matchup for me. It's great for him. DeMarco Murray's playing at Arizona. That's a so-so matchup. He had Freeman, who played 91 yards and a touchdown. Oh, he's got Marvin Jones at Tampa Bay. Goodness gracious. Brandon Cooks, like I just said, playing at Miami. It's poor pass defense. Jared Cook playing at Kansas City, which is so-so, but he's been a targeted high-volume tight end. He's got P. Ryan, which is one of my honorable mention start of the weeks, playing at the Chargers, who allow the 5th most points to running back. That's not a good matchup for me. His kicker is Boswell for the Steelers. He's been playing lights out. And his defense is that's why I don't feel so bad starting the Eagles, because his defense are the Panthers. And I think they're going to get owned by Minnesota. So, we'll see.
I'm liking what I got for my, I guess. If we're talking matchups, I'll talk about mine real quick.
Sure.
Quarterback, Jared Goff, playing against Philadelphia at home. Rex Burkhead, Monday night at Miami. I love that one. Leonard Fournette, Seattle. That's a tough one. That's the only one I'm worried about, but I'm not sitting Fournette. Rolling with my number one guy, Antonio Brown, playing Baltimore, Sunday Night Football. Michael Thomas, thank you so much for doubling your points just by a little bit more. Got me that 117 yards and 1 touchdown. Got me 21.7 points. So that's where I'm rolling with right now. Evan Ingram playing against Dallas. That's a great matchup right there. Giovanni Bernard, great pickup this week. I don't know why he was still on our waiver wire. I picked him up on Wednesday night during the waiver wire transactions. Will Lutz kind of let me down a little bit, but they didn't really have enough opportunities for him to do anything. He only had 6 points. He had 2 PATs and 1 30-yard field goal. And then I got Packers defense at Cleveland. I think I had to drop the Rams defense, which I didn't want to do, but what I had to do is look forward at the future matchups that the Rams have, and the matchups were not great. Eagles, tough matchup. Seattle next week, tough matchup. The only good one they had that I liked was Tennessee Week 16 at Tennessee, which I will be at that game. My bench consists of Chris Hogan, Kirk Cousins, Devin Funchess, Alex Collins, Kareem Hunt, and Austin Eckler. Eckler is someone I might potentially drop right now. I know people, he's been a must-add for rosters, but there's just a couple other things that I'm looking at too. I'm usually once my lineup is set, I stick with it. So I don't want to change anything last minute, because last time I did, it kind of bit me in the butt, but I still got lucky and won the game. When that happened. My opponent has Russell Wilson, Lamar Miller, Kenyon Drake, Dez Bryant, Robbie Anderson, Delaney Walker, Deion Lewis, Matt Bryant, which got him 11 points, and then the Patriots defense. Tough matchup, but this guy should not be in our playoffs. He's just my arch nemesis, and I'm forever hating on his fantasy career. So that's where I'm going to leave this at. Best of luck to everybody in their first round matchups of their playoffs. If you win, that's great. If you lose, I'm sorry. But continue watching football, because you want to study, these guys. Because there's a lot of teams out there playing guys, already looking for next year. Scouting players like Mike Davis is an example. Like, I think we talked about this in our last episode. Mike Davis is a guy to watch out for. Yeah. So, just keep on watching football, study it, get ready for next year. If you're a fantasy jock, pretty much like how we are, we try to keep up with everything year round, regardless. It's always a conversation for us. Where do you think this guy's going to go? How would you draft this guy? What do you think of these rookies? So, That's where I'm going to leave this at. Best of luck, Week 14. Here we go. It's a nerve-wracking time, but excitement because the playoffs are here. But the only sad part is that the season is almost over.
It's true.
So that's where I'm going to leave it. And this is the Fantasy Football Wrap-Up, and this is a wrap.
Wrap it up.